Creativity, timing, ear development, technique, and fretboard understanding. These are the 5 big things that every intermediate guitar player needs to be practicing if they're serious about getting better. However, you can actually multiply the effectiveness of the big 5 by making sure your practice routine covers the 3 modes of application: rhythm, lead, and connection. I call this the 5x3 rule of guitar practice. And in today's video, I'll be showing you what I think are the best intermediate exercises that satisfy this rule. So let's get into it. Our first set of exercises will be on the topic of creativity. I wanted to start here because I think developing creativity is a real challenge for most intermediate players. And what we'll be doing is improvising with limitations. So that means putting on a song or a track and improvising solos or melodies within a set of rules, forcing you to be musical with less and hopefully breaking some of your usual habits. Now, these limitations can be whatever you want them to be. A good one is to choose a scale shape or even a few positions of a scale that you're comfortable with and limit yourself to only the highest 3 strings. An even more effective version of this is to choose any chord in the track you're playing over. For example, the A minor chord in that last song. Every time the chord comes around, you have to play it. But during the rest of the time, you have to improvise with whichever scale position from the key it fits over. This exercise in particular is really nice because it helps connect your lead playing to your rhythm playing. Every set of limitations is going to help you in a slightly different way depending on where your playing is at. Try the ones that I just showed you or feel free to come up with your own. Our next exercises are all about building up your timing and rhythm. And the goal of an intermediate player here will be to add dynamics to everything. Now, how we'll work on that is by imitating a drum kit while playing chords. So choose any chord progression. I'm going to go with D major, C major, and G major. And what we need to do is break up our strumming into 3 distinct elements of a drum kit: the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. So let's go down to the G major chord here. And our kick would just be playing the lower strings. Sometimes palm muting it gives you that extra punch. The snare would be the higher strings. Pretty simple, right? And then hi-hat can kind of be a few different things. It can be just playing the chord a little lighter. Be something like that. It can also be muting the strings. Something like that. It doesn't really matter. It's totally up to you. And what we want to do is create a basic beat. So if you think about a basic drum beat, it's kick, snare, with a hi-hat going the whole time. So it'd be kick, snare, right? So we want to kind of imitate that by going. Once you've got the hang of that, we'll put on a metronome at whatever pace you're comfortable with. And our goal will be to play our entire chord progression cleanly while also imitating that drum kit. It's pretty hard to get the hang of it, but you'll get it. And once you do get the more basic version of this exercise down, you can start turning things up, whether that's through increasing the speed of the metronome or by imitating a more interesting drum pattern. Now, if you're really struggling with this, you can always just stick to one chord at first, or even just turn on a song you like, mute all of your strings, and focus on imitating the drums in that particular song without worrying about the chords at all. Playing the guitar really is just about making things that sound good. And that means we need to develop our ear. It's one of the most important connections we can make on the guitar. Hearing, thinking, doing. That is the constant flow state we want to be in whenever we play. And there are so many effective ways to work on this skill, but I'm going to focus on the more engaging ones. So we're going to do something I call the one note exercise. We're going to pick a random song or track that we don't, and this is important, we don't know the key of. Turn it on and listen for a few seconds. Then we're going to play literally any note on the fretboard. Any string, any fret, it doesn't matter. Listen to how it sounds in the context of the music. Now, that note has a 50-50 chance to either be in the key of the song or outside of the key of the song. And because of the way that music works and the fretboard works, regardless of if that note is in or out of the key, we are either 1 or 2 frets away from the next in note. And your job is to use your ear to determine where exactly that next note up the string is. So let me show you a quick example. Okay, so I'm gonna pick a random note here. We're gonna do the 6th fret of the G string, this note right here, and we're just gonna play it and listen. That sounds pretty awful. Now my job is to decide whether 1 fret up is going to be a note that's in, or 2 frets up is going to be a note that's in. Guaranteed one of those will be correct. Now, to me it sounds like if I just move up 1 fret, it's going to be in. That sounds like a note that's in. This is going to be insanely hard at first, but eventually your relative pitch will start to kick in and you'll start hearing where the notes want to go. This skill is so incredibly important to develop, and I'm going to show you why. The much more advanced version of this involves playing that first note and then based on what you hear, falling immediately into the correct key without any mistakes. So I'm going to pull up a completely random royalty-free song that I have never heard before. Okay, so I listened for a little bit, and I'm just gonna play any random note anywhere. Doesn't matter where, let's go here. And based on what I'm hearing, I know I can go like this. If all of this is just way too tough for you, then I'd recommend simply learning how to find the key of a song by ear. It's fairly simple, building up that skill first and then coming back to this exercise. When you think of guitar exercises, it's pretty likely that you're thinking of technique exercises, ones that help you build speed, strength, and dexterity. And there are some absolute classics that are always recommended for a reason. Things like the chromatic scale, another great one is the spider walk. But I want to tackle technique from a bit of a different angle. Our real goal when building our guitar technique is control. Are the sounds coming from my guitar exactly what I intended? And I found that literally nothing beats recording yourself playing something and then going back over it with a fine-tooth comb. Take any riff, chord progression, scale, literally anything, and get a good quality recording of yourself playing it. Then watch it back and pick your playing apart. Be ruthless. Listen for anything you didn't intend to be there. Buzz, open strings, sloppiness, inconsistencies. Then the goal is to do the same thing again while trying to clean things up. Record it, watch it back, and then repeat. Over time, this will really help you eliminate some of the less obvious technique issues you have. And if you're consistent with it, since you're recording yourself, you'll actually be able to compare yourself days, weeks, or months down the road. You will definitely notice a difference. Our final practice area is fretboard understanding. And our first exercise is pretty straightforward. Most guitarists are pretty good at finding the notes when their guitar is right in front of them, but it is much harder to find the notes without your guitar in your hands. So put that guitar away. And what we're gonna do is call out a string and a fret. And then your job is to name that note as quickly as possible without looking at a fretboard. So what note is the 4th fret of the A string? C sharp or D flat. How about the 1st fret of the B string? That would be a C. How about the 8th fret of the G string? E flat or D sharp. Now you can take over and do this yourself with random fret and string combinations that you pick. Just always make sure that you double check your answers before moving on. This exercise does a really good job of helping you visualize the fretboard in your mind, further building up those all-important mind-body connections. Another more hands-on exercise involves playing chord progressions while locked into just one position. And we do this by using caged shapes. For example, I can play a C major, G major, A minor, F major progression, all inside of position 2 of the C major scale. We can do this type of thing all over the fretboard and in any other key as well. Actually, this is a really good place for me to mention my free fretboard navigation guidebook. It's a downloadable book containing all the most important fretboard information that you need at the ready, including a ton of diagrams for systems that I use every time I grab my guitar. And again, it's totally free, so I'll put a link at the top of the description if you want to grab it. All right, that should give you a ton to chew on. We've covered all 5 of our big practice areas, and along the way, built a practice routine that covers all 3 modes of application: rhythm, lead, and connection. If you found this lesson to be helpful, then please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And from here, I'd recommend you check out this lesson on the bedroom guitarist curse and how to break it. If you want to support what I do here and get some extra perks, check out my Patreon or consider becoming a YouTube channel member. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.